To be this good takes Sega. I think it's probably fair to say the Sega Master System is slightly unloved when it comes to consoles. You look at the prices Sega Master System games go for on eBay compared to NES games or even other Sega consoles, and, well, then they don't go for much at all when you consider that Nintendo cartridges can go for £20 or £30 unboxed, and you can pick up many Sega games for £3 or £4, as I frequently do for these reviews. So I thought what we'd do is look at 10 interesting games on the Sega Master System. Because we're running this from cartridge, I can't do the 10 best games, although I think these are 10 really good games. So we're going to start off with a game that's familiar to many of you. It may even be built into your Master System if you have a Master System 2. It's Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Probably more familiar to Game Gear and Mega Drive owners, but still an interesting and good to play game on the Master System. It is nearly identical, in fact completely identical to the Game Gear version. So we start off in the Green Hill Zone. And no, you're not going to get the speed of the Mega Drive version or the thrills and spills. But even so, I mean, the graphics are a step up from what had gone on the Master System before. And some of the background graphics are very close to the Mega Drive version. You all know the setup. You collect the rings, you get to the end of the levels, you have a fight with Dr. Robotnik, and then go on to the next stage of the game. There's nice underground levels. I really do like the graphics on this game. Sometimes people say the Master System is very garish, but I don't think the NES has got anything looking this good. I think this is probably one of the finest looking games on the Master System. Certainly a must own for Master System fans. And it also has these wonderful bonus levels that remind you of, I think it's Sonic Spinball on the Mega Drive, which is a terrible game, but actually as a bonus level, the pinball thing bouncing around to collect the rings and bouncing off things works really well. Highly recommended game on the Master System. While we're on Sonic, we better mention Sonic 2, which, unlike Sonic 1, is a completely different game to the Mega Drive version on the Master System. You have all these underground levels with the minecart zooming along, jumping out of the minecarts, and it is Sonic, and it's clearly based on the same engine as Sonic 1, but it is a different game. So if you're thinking, I'm not going to buy Sonic 2 for my Master System, have another think, because although it is Sonic 2, it is not the Sonic 2 that perhaps you were expecting. Looking at Sega exclusive titles, Fantasy Zone 2 is a rather good game to get for the Master System. You've got Fantasy Zone 1, Fantasy Zone 2 and Fantasy Zone The Maze. It's a shoot 'em up. It's very organic shoot 'em up. It's not Space Invader type things. It is all these flowers and mushrooms and shooting these things. I don't even know how to describe them. You've got to clear the levels of all the baddies and all these mushroom bases things with wings, the red things with eyes there. You shoot those and you've got to collect the money. And with the money you can go to the shop and buy power-ups for your craft, which is called Opa Opa or Oopa Oopa. I forget which it is. Someone told me after the last Fantasy Zone game I reviewed. Very colourful, and again, one of the better looking games on the Master System. Fantasy Zone 1 is a little bit ugly. Fantasy Zone 2 looks really, really nice. The only criticism is some of the baddies and your craft get lost in this colourful background. And we go to the shop here. We can buy different things for our ship. Big wings speed you up. We can buy bombs, laser beams, all sorts of things. The weapons only last for a limited amount of time, whereas the big wings and the extra engines last for that life you've got only. So when you lose your life, you go back to how you were before. It's quite a neat little thing, these power-ups, although it's frustrating when you buy a load of them, you lose a life, and you have to go back to the beginning again, effectively. The warp zones, you can see there on the screen, are revealed when you shoot the mushroom things, which the baddies emerge from. The shop is also hidden behind those, so you have to keep on shooting those, and sometimes you get money, sometimes a shop will appear, and sometimes warps will appear. One of the best shoot-em-ups on the Master System. Alex Kidd, a game that came built into the early Master Systems, and this is Alex Kidd in Shinobi World. And you're probably thinking, how do you mix up Alex Kidd with Shinobi? Well, you're going to see. There's a paper-thin plot, where your girlfriend has been captured, and what you've got to do is fight your way all through the levels. So you've got these little ninjas that come at you. You've got a blade. That'll probably get you a high Peggy rating these days, slashing your enemies with a massive samurai sword type thing. The purses give you extra shield in effect, because you lose one of those shields every time a baddie hits you, like there. That baddie there, you can't shoot, you can't kill him from the front, so I've lost another shield there. You jump with one fire button, you slash with the knife thing with the other. With the shield there. The graphics and the music are absolutely wonderful. I love the tune on this, and it looks so nice. And it's a mashup between Shinobi and Alex Kidd. And if we press fire and we light that lamppost, we turn into a missile and we shoot along the level until we hit something. There we go. It's absolutely wonderful. If you like beat-em-ups, and yet you're not actually perhaps a hardcore beat-em-up fan, this is a platforms and ladders Alex Kidd game combined with Shinobi. And it is a Master System exclusive. There we go, we go up there and we kill that baddie there who's got the weapon and get another... Oh no, that's going to give me something to fire with. There are a few frustrating things about this game. The fact you brush past baddies and you lose shield, it can be a little bit easy. It's a shame you can't jump on them like some games. And the restart points can be frustrating. This level here particularly, you can get quite far into it, and if you die, you go right back to the beginning again. But look at this, it's absolutely lovely. It really is, and you've still got the Alex Kidd death animation there. How marvellous. Try that again. Let's climb up the ladders. It's such a nice game, and this game does cost a little bit more than most Master System games because it is so nice. And it is a Master System exclusive as well. Climb up there. Nice climbing animation. Got your samurai sword thing on your back as you climb up. Man, that would give you such problems with the game ratings today. Imagine it. None of those problems back in... When was this? I think about 1988, something like this. No, it's absolutely marvellous, and it's really, really nice. It really is a must-own game for the Master System. On to Penguin Land, another Master System exclusive title. This is more of a puzzle game. There's a plot with this game and nice animation showing you what you're doing. You've got to transport your eggs, basically, down to the bottom of the level. If you drop them too far, as indicated by the line, that's how far I can drop it, the flashing line. Drop any further than that, it will break. If baddies touch it, it will break. If I land on top of it too hard, it will break. It's all about getting the egg to the bottom of the level without it breaking. And this game is really, really hard. Again, lovely graphics, slightly annoying tune. If you don't like puzzlers, you might find it a little bit frustrating. Graphically, it reminds me a little bit of Quick Snacks, the later Codemasters game, although I don't know why it does. The bears remind me of the, what was that drink? I'm going to remember in a minute. That 1970s drink with the adverts with the polar bear. They just remind me of that. Penguin... I've broken my egg. So easy to do. Penguin Land is a bit frustrating, but it looks really nice, and I think there could be quite a lot of fun to be had with the game. Teddy Boy is one of the earliest Sega Master System games, 1985. You go around a level that wraps around on itself, and you have to kill all the baddies whilst picking up the things that they drop when you kill the baddies. And the tune is very repetitive and annoying and sticks in your head all day. The baddies will stop spawning after a while. They spawn from those little... They look like die. And you just got to watch out for them. But the levels do... You'll notice the level basically wraps around on itself. They're really small. It's a very basic game, but you can pick this up for a few pounds, and it is good fun, especially when many of the early Sega Master System games aren't very playable at all. But this one, I think has a certain charm. And again, another Master System exclusive title. Bobble is definitely not a Master System exclusive title. It's on every platform under the sun. The thing about the Master System version is, one, it does cost more than, again, than most Master System games. Expect to pay £8 or £9 on as a kind of normal price for it. You might pick one up a bit cheaper if it hasn't got a manual. But even so, £8 or £9, when you consider what NES games cost these days, or SNES games, is really, really cheap for a box game with a manual. It is Bobble. It's a really good port. It's graphically attractive. Very little to say about it, really. It's all here. The only thing to note is when there's a lot of sprites on the screen, as with many Sega Master System games, the flickering starts, and especially when you're launching off more and more bubbles, it can get pretty horrific. At this stage, there's no flickering at all, but some of the later levels, we've got water and lots of baddies and lots of bubbles going around. It can get quite bad. There is, of course, the obligatory 2-player mode, as you'd expect with Bobble. No, this is probably, along with the remake on the Amstrad CPC, the best looking port of Bobble on the 8-bits. Again, if you're going to have a Master System, this is a definite game to own. Sticking with arcade ports, Ghouls and Ghosts is another one to own on the Master System. Again, this one isn't going to be cheap, and with good reason. I say cheap again, Master System Collection is a joy in some ways because the games aren't hideously expensive. If I'm spending £10 on a game, I'm thinking, oh dear, this game costs a lot of money, and this is a game that will probably cost you about £10, about that. But it's a fantastic port of Ghouls and Ghosts. Sometimes you get those treasure chests. Most of the time when you hit them with arrows or your spears, there you go. This time you get a portal opens up and you get a power up. Red helmet, red armour or red shoes. I'm going to select red shoes because I quite like Kate Bush. So off we go again. And I think red shoes means either it's going to be an incredibly dull movie or I can run faster. And this is, again, people have certain expectations of what a Master System game looks and sounds like, and this isn't it. This is so polished, looks so close to, many other systems. The arcade version, yes, okay, the graphics are more pixelated, but it's so nice. And yes, you can play this game on other systems or MAME, but if you've got a Master System around, this again is a definite game to own. It's slowed down a little bit on this level because I'm running against the wind. So it's not the game slowing down. There you go, another portal opens up. Again, if you can get hold of Ghouls and Ghosts, it's a definite must-own game. I keep on saying that. The Master System catalogue is regarded as being a bit limited, but it's just you've got to dig around a bit and find this stuff, and the gems are there. Super Space Invaders is another arcade port that's an absolute gem on the Master System. It looks attractive, it plays well. Yes, okay, it's Space Invaders, and I know when this game came out, people went, oh, Space Invaders is old hat. The sprites are quite small, admittedly, and it can be a little bit difficult to see them on a smaller screen, but this is a really nice port of the arcade game and very, very playable. And again, this is a game you can pick up for perhaps £3 or £4, especially if it's missing a instruction manual. A very playable and enjoyable port of the arcade game, and probably, again, the best 8-bit version. Moving on to Wonder Boy 3. Now, this isn't a game I particularly like, but I want to show it to you. I'm not a fan of the Wonder Boy games, but I know loads of people love these games. So I'm just going to run through it very briefly, and we're in Monster World. These graphics are marvellous. Look at them. If it wasn't for the slightly jerky scrolling, you could think this was an Amiga game. It looks so nice, and the wonderful, colourful graphics, so sharply defined. Wonderful use of the Master System's palette. You've got to explore the castle, and it's an RPG, so if you press pause on the Master System, like some of the early Alex Kidd games, you get a menu system up and you can select various things. Oh, I'm not doing well here. I find these games a little bit fiddly, frustrating, and I'm bored by all the exploration, really. But other people don't, and this is a very highly rated game by Master System users, so it's a difficult one to ignore. And aesthetically, as I said earlier, it looks lovely. It looks really, really nice. Large cartoony graphics, and I believe quite a lot of gameplay in the game as well, and some big end of level baddies, dragons and things to defeat. So into one of the different zones, different graphics. Again, look how attractive this looks. It's really nice. If you like RPG games, and it's not a full-on RPG like you get like Zelda and things like that, which I don't know really much about, so perhaps I'm wrong, but it's an arcade game with an RPG touch, perhaps. If you like the things like Mario, I guess, but perhaps a little bit less arcadey and a bit more exploring, then Wonder Boy 3 is going to be for you. So that's 10 games to look at on the Master System. Not necessarily the best titles on the system, but 10 interesting games, all of which are very, very obtainable. None of those games there are going to cost you more than £15 on a bad day. On a good day, you're going to pick up most of them for £4 or £5, £6, perhaps top, except for Bobble, except for Wonder Boy 3, and except for Alex Kidd in Shinobi World. The rest of them are incredibly cheap to buy. If you buy certain Master Systems, you're going to get Sonic 1 built in anyway. The thing about the Master System, as I say, the games are incredibly cheap. The system is unbelievably unfashionable. When I do these videos, when I do standalone Master System videos, they get hardly any views compared to other stuff. There is something about the Master System and that means it's less popular. I don't know what it is, because I absolutely love it. I love collecting games for it. It's affordable. Yes, there is a lot of dross on the system, but that's true of all systems. You do have to dig around a little bit more with the Master System, but hopefully in this video I've shown you 10 games that are worth owning on the Master System and are certainly easily obtainable and very affordable as well.